For this presentation, I will be discussing communications panels that was used in the central office. There was many different types of panels made, as well as many different manufacturers of panel. This is an electronic 1A2 type of a telephone made by ADC. The phone can be turned off and on, and this does require 50 volts DC power to make the phone work, in addition to the 50 volts on the line. Of course, when you go off hook, that changes. So we have two rows of line keys and then a remote headset, which is wired on a connector in the back, and I will show that momentarily. So you can use a standard handset or a 52 type operator's headset or a Plantronics headset. In this case, I have just the standard G type of a handset plugged into the phone. So you can select whatever line. In this case, that's my home line, and that appears on around 60 some phones. And then line 2 is another line here for home, and so forth. The buttons are once on, once off if you want to do that. If you're using a remote headset, you can select the line and then the headset that you want to use. So there could be up to 9 headsets on this unit. I've never seen that ever used anywhere, but it was an option, and this panel has it. There's also a conference button, so I can select, we'll say line 2, press the conference key and select line 4, and I now have both lines 2 and line 4 tied together. That was a neat feature. I'm not sure if they have an amplifier in the phone between the lines or not. I doubt it, but that is a possibility. When you're at the central office, you do not have the loss on the phone line like you would if it was going to a business. They did have in some central offices on some systems artificial lines to provide a loss to help reduce the transmitter current at the phone so that you wouldn't have frying eggs, and also to reduce the level, so if they were calling somebody within the same building or a block or two away, there was a built-in loss. These phones are not very common. I have only seen a few of them on eBay, but they do exist. This is the rear of the comm panel. Has a 25 pair cable connected to it, as well as the 48 volts headset and some miscellaneous leads on the barrier terminal strip. Sorry about the shakiness, which right here. As well as, if I wanted to, I could connect a standard tip and ring phone line to that jack and then plug a phone into the front of it. Here is the cross connect end of the cable, just showing this for illustrations only. This is a Western Electric 660A comm panel. These were normally used in D4 channel banks, also in the number 1 and 1A ESS machines, as well as some DAX systems. This comm panel, of course, is just a standard 1A2 phone, with one exception. It has the sliders removed so you can press 2 line keys down at the same time, better known as the GTE conference. As long as this is not used in the step-by-step office that reverses battery on answered supervision, and you try to conference a line to an unanswered call, which is not reverse battery, which then creates a short and knocks everything down, and the phone becomes useless at that moment. One of the nice features about this, it has a slide out writing table so you can put paperwork on and make notes or look at schematics. This phone also has the ability to have a headset, remote headset like the ADC comm panel phone had. Here's the wire wrap terminal block for the phone. Due to the fact this was used in the central office, the CO equipment installers would just have more equipment to wire wrap to. These phones were not connectorized when they left the factory. This is the rotary switch for the headset function. Here is a much older comm panel. This particular comm panel was mounted in a SMAS system. The SMAS was a switched maintenance access system for testing analog spatial service lines. There were lots of these installed in every central office that was of any significant size, and this was part of the SMAS system. Some of the jacks that we're looking at would have been wired into the SMAS test ports. However, this is still just a 6-button 1A2 phone. The key strip would wire out like a 2565 or 565. That is, of course, you wire it that way at the terminal strip on your rear. This is the rear of the unit, and I have wire wrapped a male-ended cable or a plug onto this, and then I will be running a 25 pair cable to my 66 blocks. We have here an Allen-Tel comm panel. This is a comm panel that was made using ITT telephone parts. And this, of course, is just a standard 2830 wiring. Here is a trimline telephone connected to a 6050 key and a headset jack. This was made by the Pacific Northwest Bell Telephone Company for use in the central offices where it was impossible to mount a comm panel or a telephone. These were intended to be mounted on the front of the relay racks or the rear. This was a custom-made aluminum bracket. Here was another telephone that was used in the central office. These were mounted in the number 1 ESS, number 2 ESS, master test frames, and trunk test frames. This telephone is a standard 1A2 phone, however it's also brought out on a terminal block, and I have it wired as a 565/2565 and a 2830. There's a 50 pair cable that goes to this phone. Here's the terminal strip that I had to wire to. Here is a 30-button standard 1A2 phone that is sitting on an equipment shelf that was made to mount into a 23-inch relay rack.